What's up, fellow quacks? So I got a comment recently asking about if I was ever going to do a video showing off my paintings, and I realized that would actually be for a really interesting video. So I decided I'm going to go through all the paintings they have, well, not all of them, but most of them, and just kind of talk briefly about them. And yeah, I'm not gonna go too in depth with everything because it's gonna take a really long time because there's a lot. So yeah, but I will try to give some context and meaning and whatnot, and then just kind of go ahead on to the next one. I'm also going to just kind of go from like the smallest to largest, which the largest is 18 by 24 because I don't really like to work large. But yeah, also they're not going to be in chronological order, so some things are going to look a little bit, I guess, wonky or whatever. But yeah, that's just because, you know, I'm just kind of going out of order just because. So this is the first one, and it's the smallest. This is for a painting series I did for my painting class, where basically we had to, or I picked this concept, where basically I painted out a dream. I painted out different dreams that I had, and this was one of them. And I just mentioned it in a sketchbook tour video. Basically, it was about this weird creature that I saw in my laundry room, and he had like a brother who was sleeping like in my laundry room, and his brother asked me to help him use the bathroom, and for some reason he looked like this. I don't know why he was bleeding. I don't know why he was upset. He needed help going to the bathroom, but he doesn't have any bottom part to do that. And also I felt what that felt like. It felt like wet meat. It was disgusting. I mean, he's adorable, but like also it's kind of gross at the same time. So yeah, that was definitely an interesting painting to make. On to the next painting. This was a style experimentation thingy, and also I wanted to do some like mixed media. So I had this house thing that I made like in 2021, where basically it was like for this art class. It was one of those 3D type things, and basically all I did was just take some of the stuff from the house and I put it onto here. Like I had these that were from something, and I had these stickers that I hadn't used before, so I was like, oh, I could perfectly use these for now because they fit the color palette. I'm not sure what the heck's going on or what the concept really is. I think I just randomly came up with my head, and I will admit that I'm not a fan of her face. I wish I could fix it, but unfortunately I'm not the biggest fan of oil paints. I mean, I still do like painting in general, but I personally prefer acrylics, and since acrylics can't really go over oil, I can't really fix it, and I don't want to, so it's gonna just look like crap, which sucks. But yeah, I still had fun doing this part though. This was fun to put together. I will admit that the sparkles didn't stay on super well, but that's okay. It still looks cool. On to the next painting. So this was another mixed media thing. I'm not really a fan of it, just because it was really difficult to get her face right. Because the problem is with like painting, since I was still kind of a beginner when it came to like oil painting around this time, which was like 2 years ago, it was really hard to control the paint and like do little details. So I was really struggling with this. I tried to do a more simplistic approach, but it's still just it didn't turn out super well. I will admit though that like the embellishments and like all the other stuff turned out fine. I did like it, but just I feel like concept wise it was interesting, but the execution wasn't the best, and it was supposed to be steampunk-ish, and because I had these clocks that I needed to use stuff for something. So yeah, and also it says watch and clockwork. So yeah, watch and clockwork. I thought it said watch and the clockwork. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I have to say. She's also very, very blue. Like, holy crap. Anyway, on to the next painting. So this one, I forgot what my reasoning was for making this, but basically it's like this character inside of a heart chamber, and yeah, that's really about it. That's all I have to say about it. I do like the concept though, and I will admit I do like how this one came out. Again, this was all like from like 2022, 2021. I forget. I don't know. All this stuff is just, it's a blur for me, but yeah, this was a pretty decent one, I think. On to the next painting. Okay, so this one, I actually titled this one. I don't really title my paintings, but this one I think it was Depressed in Pink, because as you can see, it's very pink, and the chick is very depressed because She's hooked up to some IV bag for whatever reason, and she's surrounded by pink stuff, and she's depressed. And also, I was very on the nose. I was like, oh, she feels like a caged bird, so that's why I had a bird next to her. And also, fun fact, I actually referenced like Animal Crossing items. Like, I set it up in Animal Crossing, and then I like just drew from that because I'm so bad at drawing objects. So yeah, this one was fun. On to the next painting. This one was pretty funny. I'm not the biggest fan how it came out, but it's oh my goodness, it's the background that really messed me up because I was trying to do stripes, but it just didn't mesh well. Anyway, the idea was that this chick, she got sick, and the Grim Reaper is after her because she got sick. I mean, she looks like she just has a cold, but for some reason, I guess she's, I don't know, I guess it's either representation of like, oh, when you're sick and you feel like you're dying, or she's actually dying. Either way, it's funny in a really dark way. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of this, but at the same time, I think conceptually it's pretty funny. On to the next painting. Okay, so this one actually had some meaning to it. Basically, you know how when you have like mental health issues and people say, oh, it's all in your head. Well, no shit, it's all in your head. It's mental. Mental means brain. But anyway, it's just kind of like, you know, how mental illness builds up and stuff, and it's kind of the basically just a horror representation of how anxiety, depression, all these mental issues can like build up and create a monster, I guess. I don't know, it's really edgy, but I guess that's kind of the point. This one is a bit better. Actually, I colored his skin in marker, which is why it looks a little bit different, but yeah, I like how this one came out. Definitely love the shading on the monster thingy and on the head flesh thing. Not the biggest fan of the eyes, but I will say the expression is pretty scary. But yeah, this one is pretty intense. I'm not sure why I put poison on the side for like the washi tape, because I mean, I kind of get where I was going with it, but not really. Like, I feel like poison really doesn't fit it. But anyway, on to the next painting. So this painting's pretty funny. I think it's kind of in a similar line to the other painting, where basically it's like kind of representing mental health, sort of. It's sort of like how toxic positivity can affect people, because the fairies are supposed to represent toxic positivity, and this chick is clearly just not having a good day, and she just wants to be left alone, and these fairies are like messing with her. I mean, I will admit they don't seem like they're being too disruptive. They're just kind of like, hey, hi, hello, we're just here. But she's just like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. I'm just trying to be depressed in peace. And yeah, honestly, that is such a vibe. Like, you know, sometimes I just want to be miserable in peace. And those fairies are supposed to represent, you know, toxic positivity. Like, just think positive. It's like, bro, if I were to think positive, I would have done that a long time ago. It's not that easy. But yeah, that was what the picture was supposed to represent. On to the next one. Okay, this was another titled one. I think it was Rotten Candyland or something like that. I really love this one. It's actually a remake of an old drawing that I made because it was for an assignment for class where it was something about work from work as like a prompt. So I was like, oh, work from work? I guess that means making a redraw of a previous work because you're working from a work. So that's what I did, and I just made it dark because that's like my entire thing, and I'm really proud of this. This is where I was starting to like experiment with different like watercolor techniques. In my older watercolor pictures, I use marker outlines, but like alcohol markers. But now I've started to use water-based markers, so that way I can like blend in stuff and all that. I haven't really done it too often lately, but yeah, this is the result. So yeah, you'd be shocked if I told you that, yeah, some of this was actually with Crayola marker. Whoa! But yeah, also I covered it with Mod Podge, so it's very shiny. And yeah, it's supposed to be another deep, edgy painting, sort of. You could interpret it as this chick is just oblivious to everything, or if it's like she's aware of what's going on and she's just like, eh, whatever. Also, I used these like fancy schmancy scissors to cut the edges because I was gonna rip it off. I wanted to use scissors, and I also like did this painting effect so that way it looked like it was rotting. So yeah, I would say this is one of my favorite paintings, like watercolor wise. It's really nice. I love how it came out. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the splotching, but I feel like also it does match the vibe in a way, so I'll give it a pass. On to the next painting. Alright, so now we've gotten a bit large. This painting actually was cut from a 18 by 24 paper. I think I cut it in half or something like that. So I forget, I don't know what the size exactly is, but it's not like, I don't know. Anyway, this is supposed to be another edgy sort of thing, and it's one of those, it was like a collage thingy. I just had a bunch of uh, candy wrappers and I just put them together and made this. So, what was the last thing you cried about? Love. Pain relief is here. An ode to a broken heart, and pain relief being chocolate. Oh yeah, I don't know, I guess she was like heartbroken because her heart just kind of melted into some, I don't know what's going on, but it's disturbing. But that's kind of the point. She's upset about something, probably being heartbroken, and yeah, I do like this painting. I mean, there are certain aspects I'm not the biggest fan of, but also, I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to redo it, but also not really. I don't know. I like this. You're gonna hear this a lot throughout this video. I love how these paintings came out, but also there's so much things I want to improve on. But at the same time, it's just, the cycle. On to the next painting. Okay, so I just remembered that this was actually a trio of paintings that I did. So the other one, where it was basically using like food as like metaphors for certain things or something like that, I guess. So for this one, I actually really love this one. It's rotten strawberries and stuff, and basically it's about this chick who is, I guess she's trying to distance herself from her past self in a way, and her past self is all distorted and fucked up. And she's like, oh, get away from me. And she's like, I am trying to get you. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's like the whole point of it, is that she's trying to pull away and she's trying to, like, you know, fuse with her, and the worlds are trying to collide in a way. Like, this side is all dark and her hair is all pointy, and then her hair is not pointy. It's all colorful here. Yeah, I love how this collage part came out, and this is before I had acrylic paint, so I'm like, I was on some really cool stuff with this, just with watercolor paint alone. But now I have acrylic paints, and I feel way more powerful. Like, I feel like I do way more cool stuff with that. But yeah, so really love this painting. Also, really love how the eyelashes came out. I actually used a gel pen, and yeah, this is one of my favorite paintings. I love it. On to the next one. This is the last of the trio of paintings, and this one I actually made a speed paint for. It is, I think this one actually has a title. It's Sweet Treats, I think. And this one is pretty dark, I would say. Basically, this chick is a cake. She's either turned into a cake or something, I don't know. Basically, it's supposed to be a representation of like how people pleasers. It's spelled people pleasers, and how they're willing to give up so much of themselves, you know. But it's like, you have all this cake for other people, but not for yourself. You can't have your cake and eat it too because you don't have any cake. So, I guess that's basically the meaning of the painting. Sweet treats from the inside out, enough to please the whole party. I, to this day, am still mad that the placing of the whole party is so off. It should be like a bit more like that, but it's not, and it's bothering me. I could fix it in Photoshop, but just, whatever. I do like how this painting came out, though. On to the next painting. But actually, before I do, I will say, we're now transitioning to the larger paintings, because, that's all of it, really. So this one, I'm still thinking of a title for it. I do like it. Actually, I painted it on this, it's not a canvas, it's some sort of, it's like, it was from a box, but it felt like a canvas, so I painted on it. Anyway, I wanted to name it something like Lisa Frank Vomit or something like that, because I had this Lisa Frank sticker thing, and I just put stuff together. Actually, I'm gonna do a close-up of everything because there is so much going on here. This is like the type of painting that I love doing, where it's like just a bunch of details together, and like the more you look at it, the more stuff is going on. Like, I love it. It's just really cool. And I really wanted to put something in the middle here, but I just couldn't think of anything, so I've left it blank. So it's unfinished. I wanted to put like a cutout, but I was like, nah, because I didn't want to cover up this. I was gonna put words, but I'm like, what words am I gonna put there? So I'm just drawing a blank. So yeah, it's unfinished for the time being, but yeah, I do like this painting. It was on a whim painting, by the way. Like, I just had a bunch of scraps of like Lisa Frank sticker set, and I just decided to put it onto a canvas and went from there. But yeah, on to the next painting. So this was a scrapped painting that I did. It was supposed to be like about beauty standards or something, but it just turned out really bad. I feel like I should have planned it better. And yeah, I disavowed it. I will say I am proud of this part, but it kind of messed up on the finger. Anyway, this is supposed to be like a representation of me or whatever, and blah blah blah. Beauty standards, body stuff, you know, the usual. So yeah, you know, it's one of those. I don't know. I try to make paintings that are deep, but at the same time, I feel like they kind of come off as really shallow. So yeah, this one was a flop. On to the next one. This is a painting of my OC Nervina Flora, and I don't like how this one came out because her head is massive. Like, I know I try to do it for like to just kind of show off, I guess, like her expression, but her head is like, keep in mind this is 18 by 24, so her head is literally bigger than my hand, and this area is basically the size of my hand. So yeah, it's very disproportionate, and I'm not a fan of this butterfly thing. It looks very, I don't know, I was trying to do like Shinobu's hair from Demon Slayer, like the butterfly thingy, but it just didn't work out. I think the background looks way better. Like, this looks way cooler because I was having more fun with this than with the rest of the painting. I did make a speed paint of it, like I didn't post it, but I'm not sure if I want to because I don't think I finished the speed paint. I don't remember. I have to check, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this painting in terms of looking back on it now. I was proud of it when I finished it, but like, yeah. And also for like lore, basically Nervina Flora is like jealous of her friend, and she got so jealous that she basically, her heart got poisoned, and she's literally like dying of poison right now. She's literally dying, guys. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's dark. On to the next painting. Alright, this one is interesting. This was supposed to be like a representation of nostalgia kind of fading away, and yeah, I don't know how I feel about this painting. I have mixed feelings because this is gonna sound weird. So like, I think okay, during critique, I remember I showed this off in the class. Was like, why is there a black baby doll? And I was like, because this chick is white and there's a black baby doll. And I was like, wait, oh right, duh, that is kind of weird. So I was like, oh, it's personal because it's like a representation of me. But then it's like, why is there a white chick here? And then it's like, oh, I'm so dumb, I didn't think ahead. So it's just, I don't know, I feel weird about this piece because of that. And yeah, I kind of wanted to redraw of it because I feel like conceptually it's really interesting, but the execution is just, that's actually just the theme of this video. Is everything was really cool, like conceptually, but the execution was just not as good as it could have been. I feel like I've improved a lot, so I could remake it, but we'll have to see, you know. I do like how oddly enough, I like how her face came out. Mainly the nose, like it's really good nose. Yeah, so anyway, the rest of the face I would say is pretty good, but like everything else is just, it's alright. On to the next painting. This is another dream-based painting, and this one I'm not the biggest fan of because the paper is coming off. I used hot glue, and it just still refused to stay on properly, so I gave up. So I have to be really delicate with this painting, which is why I don't really touch it too often. But basically the idea behind this, like the dream, was that there was this dude who had powers based off of a blue dragon. I don't remember if his name was this or if it was the dragon's name, but it was Blue Zenith, which is really sick. Anyway, he had like dragon-based powers and blah blah. I don't remember too much of it now because I didn't write it down, but I did draw him out a very long time ago. Actually, I can show it. So yeah, that was that doodle. On to the next painting. Ooh, this painting was really fun to do. This, I will say, the face was very frustrating, but this was another dream-based painting. And in this painting, it's really weird. In short, this chick had like a fight with her mom about cleaning the bathroom. That's supposed to be her mom. I know it's really hard to tell, and I had to reference my own basement bathroom. And basically, she's upset, so she goes off to this fantasy world, and it was really trippy looking, so I added a bunch of like mixed media elements just to really emphasize how trippy it was, and coloring it was really a real pain in the ass because I was trying to get like really bright fluorescent colors, but I just didn't have it, so yeah. Anyway, I really had fun with the pipe cleaners and the puff balls. It was just it was so fun to do. I would say this is definitely like a fun, it's not my favorite painting ever, but it was one of the most fun I had working on in class. Like, look at this. I love paintings that you can like touch, that are like tactile like that. Like, those are so fun. But yeah, also I think some of these might have fallen off. I don't remember, because I don't know why. It's really weird there's just 2 there. But yeah, anyway, on to the next painting. So this was, actually, I just noticed, so this is kind of similar to that Sweet Trees painting, because it's like there's this hand, same pose, cutting into something, but instead of like a body, it's a head. Anyway, so this was supposed to be an assignment for class where we had to like collage our work together and make a painting. So I just did just that, and it's very, I'm not really happy with how this came out, because it's very generic, like there's not much going on, it's very flat. I do like the background because it's graffiti-like, and I really love graffiti-type backgrounds like this. So I do like that, and I really struggle with the hair. Like, I was trying to render it, like, just, it was making me mad. I hated rendering it so much because I had to keep going with highlights, but I was like, oh, the highlights too harsh, so I had to keep kind of dulling it, and it was just like, you know, this is why I'm not the biggest fan of painting it at times, because it can be really frustrating, because it's like you have to keep going over and over and over again to get the right colors and the right everything, and it's just, ugh. I will say, this cream thingy, ice cream, whatever the heck it is, came out really well. I do like that. Strawberries on this, and this one, it's a little flat, but everything else is fine. And also, yeah, her face is kind of, it's a little yucky. She's drooling, and she's got friggin' snot coming out of her nose, like, yeah, it's kind of nasty, but you know. Anyway, on to the next picture. Okay, this one was another interesting idea, but bad execution, because I really struggle with the face and like the transparency and all that, because this is like the first time I really tried like painting water with paint. So yeah, and it's supposed to be a representation of like anxiety building up and sort of pouring out, but it just doesn't look like that. So she's supposed to be wearing a fishbowl on her head, and it's supposed to be like the fishbowl is overflowing, and then like the painting is supposed to be like filling up with water, so it's supposed to make you feel anxious and stuff, but I feel like because of the water spouts being so thick, like it doesn't make sense. So yeah, it just doesn't have the same vibes, and her eyes look really weird. Yeah, this one really interesting, but I kind of don't like how it came out. But yeah, and also like I think I had to add this because my professors were like, yeah, we need something in the background. So I was like, okay, I'll add this, I guess, this orange thingy. And this picture is another flop. I do like the water, like the splatter and all that. That does look pretty good, but everything else is nah, it's not for me. On to the next painting. Okay, so this painting was for another assignment. All these are like assignments, and this one was definitely a melancholy one. It was, but also bittersweet and nostalgic. So I went to Disney World in 2015 and 2017 as part of like a school trip for band class, and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of stuff that I hated, but I feel like overall it was a really fun experience because it was like a once in a lifetime thing, and it did suck in a few ways because, you know, we had to be with like classmates, and also, you know, we did have to perform. That was the whole point of the trip. It wasn't just like we got to go to Disney World for free. We had to do something there. We had to perform. So that's why there's like musical elements. I play the clarinet, so there were like these clarinets shooting out fireworks, and this is supposed to represent the bus, but it doesn't really look like a bus. So I added like carriage wheels to kind of like, you know, make it look like a magical carriage bus thingy. And I just kind of photo bashed a bunch of like buildings that I had from like Disney photos together. And this is actually a hat that Aurora is wearing that we got specifically for ourselves for like from the Disney park staff or whatever, who, I don't know, someone gave it to us, and I have 2 of them because I went twice, and this was for like people who are performing at Disney. So I can actually show that. Ta-da! Disney Performing Arts. Ooh, fancy. I have not worn this in a very long time, by the way. Like, I only wore it at the park. I just kind of keep it as like a memento of the trip. But yeah, this is what we got when we were there. Anyway, this painting was a pain in the ass to paint because it took several, I think, days. I don't remember how long it took, but it took a while. And the main issue was the hair. I hate this thing so much. I know, it looks AI generated, but like, trust me, it was because I kept screwing up so many times. I just gave up on it. I was like, you know what, whatever. And the swirl was just a stylistic choice because I was frustrated with how everything was coming out. Everything was just pissing me off, so I just was like, I want to just settle with whatever and move on. And yeah, and just, the painting was frustrating, but it was nice to kind of reminisce about Disney World. And yeah, her face kind of says it all about how I feel. I do miss it in some ways, but also I'm glad I went when I did, because from what I've heard, Disney's gotten way more expensive. Some rides have kind of disappeared, or not disappeared, but like they've gotten rid of some rides. Like they got rid of Splash Mountain, I think. So I'm glad I got to go on like certain rides before, you know, they got rid of them and all that. Anyway, on to the next painting. Okay, so we're actually going backwards because I think this was from the first ever, like, or one of like the first painting classes I took when I transferred schools. And this was another assignment where we had to collage something and then we had to paint it. We had to do like a grid and everything, and I just kind of did something weird. I don't know, I don't like this painting that much. I do like how this hand came out. This is really pretty, but everything else is shit. Okay, I like this eye. This is a good eye. And alright, this eye is decent, but everything else is bad. Bad. It's not good. I can't find the collage paper that I did it on anyway, so overall it was alright. I mean, I will give myself the benefit of the doubt because this was like my earliest like oil paintings. Like since we're going backwards, you'll see like what my oil paintings used to look like, which was just, and considering the fact that these were like, since it was early, these were more like observational, like study type stuff. They weren't, you know, more narrative based until like the one you saw like with the fishbowl chick and all that. That was later in like a different class. So on to the next painting. So this is another painting that I mentioned, like in terms of observational study-ish. It's very, you know, there's not much to really say. It's just one of those paintings. I'm gonna say this. I remember the professor kept telling me to add more highlights, and I'm like, dude, I added highlights. I added enough highlights. Like, I added white. Like, he keeps add highlights. Where? I added highlights everywhere. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I tried my best. It was so frustrating. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this one, because, but, you know, it is what it is. On to the next painting. And this is it. This is very colorful. It is a, it's supposed to be, like, sort of event art in a way. Let's just say it's supposed to be kind of like a representation of having health issues, and you're feeling like your body is just, like, rotting away, but you're trying to keep, like, a, you know, positive attitude while all that's going on. That's basically the vibe I was going for with this. Very pink and rainbow and blah blah blah. It was supposed to be a magical girl as well. Like, it's supposed to be like, I was gonna do like this, I had an idea for like an art series where I do like magical girls, but they're all like suffering. I know that's depressing and dark, but you know, it's like my whole thing. And I really love this painting. This is the first like full-on acrylic painting that I did, and I love acrylic because I can kind of, you know, I can go to it the next day and it's dry and I don't have to worry about being wet. And also I feel like I control acrylic a bit better when it comes to like all that. When it comes to like oil, it seems like it's more, I don't know, it feels a bit more difficult to control. And also I feel like there's more I have more variety of colors. Like, you don't really see too much variety of oil paint colors, or at least I haven't. Like, when I go to art stores, there's like a shit ton of variety of colors, like pinks and blues, but with oil it feels like you only get like, you have to really search for them. Anyway, I really love this painting. I would say my favorite section is like the intestines because of all the little stars and hearts, and I just love, like I said earlier, I love paintings that just have a bunch of stuff and layers and on top of it and all this, it's candy in paint form. I love it. So yeah, anyway, oh yeah, before I go, sparkles. Yeah, so she has like, these are actually, it's acrylic paint, sparkle paint. I bought it specifically for this painting, and it's already mostly gone because I used a lot. Yeah, so I just added that so it wouldn't look too dark. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, me talking about paintings, and I'll see you quacks later.
Watercolor.